to the Building Your Brand podcast. Now, one of the things that I'm loving about doing these solo episodes is that I can be very spontaneous with them. So when I'm recording interviews, obviously they're all booked in, there's like a topic, there's questions ahead of time. Whereas with this, if I have an idea or something happens, I can just come and I can just chat about it. And so that is what this episode is really about. It's all about a conversation that I had with a friend of mine at the weekend that I thought was really interesting. And I think it'll be a really interesting one to share. So let's dive straight in. Basically, my friend works in fundraising for a charity and she works as a consultant for this other person's business. He's like very high profile in the industry. He's very respected, probably sort of, the best at what he does in this country kind of vibes. Now, one of the things that she had noticed is that competitors of theirs were really doing a lot of marketing and getting visible and building their brands. And at this point, they are not really doing any marketing. Now, obviously, amazing that they have sort of built their business on kind of reputation alone without any sort of formal marketing. But I think they're starting to realize that actually they need to put some effort into doing marketing. Now, the reason that she wanted to chat to me about it was she was like, Liz, I keep seeing people who are very average at what they do create these videos on LinkedIn or on Instagram about the industry and, promoting what they do. And, they're doing really well, but they're not the best. And it was just so interesting to me because this is absolutely true. It's not necessarily the people who are the best at what they do who are the most successful, because often it's the people who are willing to get out there and are willing to put their face at the front of their brand, who are willing to, talk about what they do, who are willing to market themselves, that do really, really well. And we see it time and time again in all different industries. I've definitely seen it in the design industry. It's not necessarily the best designers who have the biggest profiles and who are making the most money. So we were chatting about that. And one of the things that she had noticed is that one of these people who were creating marketing content were doing get ready with me style content. So she'd be putting on her makeup and she'd be talking about a particular lesson about fundraising that she wanted to share. And my friend was like, I could do stuff like that, I guess. But she was like, I just feel so cringe about doing it. And I, again, thought that this was super interesting and we had a really good chat about it. And I think this has been going around a lot on social media, this sort of concept of cringe, and how actually it's the people who are willing to work through the cringe and who are willing to do it anyway that are actually doing really well, who are creating content that does really well, who are getting their business out in front of new people. And it brought me back to something that I have believed for a long time, which is that as small business owners, as business owners in general, I think one of the sort of key lessons that I have had to learn is that I need to be comfortable with discomfort. So if I want to grow my business in the way that I want to, if I want to push myself forward, I have to have a certain capacity for discomfort, because when I'm doing something new or when I'm doing something I haven't done before, it is gonna feel uncomfortable. It is gonna feel cringe potentially. It's gonna feel awkward. And if I give up at that point, then I'm not gonna see the results that I want to see. I have to work through those feelings of discomfort, those feelings of cringe, to get to a point where I have learned, I have improved, I am doing something so well that it doesn't feel cringe anymore. And so we had this whole conversation, and ultimately it made me realize that a huge part of success for businesses, for podcasts, for whatever it is that you do, is actually just being willing to show up and have a go and risk failure. Like, your capacity for failure has to be quite high as well if you want to have a successful business, because actually so many people and so many business owners are at the point, just like my friend kind of is, she's at this sort of deciding point where they think about doing something, they see other people doing it, often they're a bit envious about what they're doing and the successes they're having, but they're not willing to work through the discomfort, they're not willing to work through the fear to give it a go and see what happens. And so actually there are loads of people who are dropping off at that point, and if you're willing to keep going, then you are going to be ahead. You're going to stand head and shoulders ahead of those people that have dropped off and who are going to be frustrated because they're not willing to do the thing. Now, I'm not saying that everything is going to be right for you to do. So, for example, I don't think I'll ever do a get ready video myself because although I know they work really well, I'm terrible at multitasking. So, I don't think I'd be very good at doing it. And also, I'm not very good at doing makeup. So, I wouldn't want to sit there and put my makeup on in front of other people. But there's other things that I can do instead. And yes, they make me feel cringe. And yes, sometimes they make me feel awkward. But I'm going to power through and I'm going to do it. So, for example, at the moment, I'm posting all of these solo episodes on YouTube, and it's actually been really helpful for me because I was really struggling to get in a rhythm with YouTube. And so by having to post these solo episodes every week, I'm getting in a rhythm. And actually, I now feel really excited about other videos that I'm going to make that are not for the podcast. But I kind of needed to just do something to get started so that then I could move on to the next step. And I'm having to work through the discomfort of not feeling like I'm very good at this thing. And so actually, the other day, I decided that I am going to give myself permission to not be good at YouTube for at least a year. And so I'm going to put up content, I'm going to commit to it, I'm going to post these solo episodes as videos, I'm going to do all sorts of stuff, and I'm going to expect to not be good. And yes, that is going to feel cringy, and yes, that is going to feel uncomfortable, but that is the only way that I'm going to learn and get better to the point where I am good. And I think about all of the people that I follow on YouTube, I think about all of the podcasts that I follow and listen to, all of them started somewhere where it felt cringe and it felt uncomfortable, and they got through that, and now they've built something really big and amazing. And honestly, that has been my experience with this podcast as well. I'm not the best podcaster. I mean, I think I'm pretty good, but I'm not the best. I'm not famous. Like, I don't have the biggest audience. There's all these sort of like different factors that I don't have. But the fact is that I've kept going and I've showed up and I've learned. And some of the episodes aren't very good and I've got better. Like if I go back and listen to episode 1, I am sure, maybe I'll do that. I haven't done it, but maybe I'll do it. I'm sure I will cringe so hard. But the fact is I needed to keep going to get to where I wanted to go. And now I'm here on like, I can't even remember what episode this is, maybe like 187, here on episode 187. And, I've grown this podcast that has people who listen to it and has, people who support it. And that's a really amazing thing. And it's done amazing things for my business. And it's the same with social media content. If you want to grow something, if you want to market your business on social media and you want it to be successful, you're going to have to work your way through the cringe. So we had this really great conversation about that and also what that might look like for her. Now, one of the things that was really interesting as well that she talked about is that not many people are marketing their businesses very effectively or like that in her industry. So there was this one person that she referenced, there was like a couple of people. And actually what she has is this incredible opportunity because, I work in an industry, design, where there's loads of people creating incredible content. People are incredibly creative. They've got a lot of skills and talents when it comes to editing, when it comes to making videos. The industry she's in, there isn't that sort of tradition. So actually she has a lot less competition with other people in her industry if she started creating this kind of content, if she started marketing her business in this sort of way. And so I personally, and this is what I was saying to her, think that she has such an incredible opportunity. And there's another lesson here that I love and that I try to implement in my business. And the opportunity that she has is that she can go and look at other industries and other businesses. She can see what they are doing and what's working for them when it comes to marketing. So for example, she could come and look at, like the kind of influencer space, she could look at the design space, she could look at all of these creative industries and she could learn from those and she could take those back to her industry, which is probably a bit more educational, a bit more dry, and she could actually apply those lessons to her industry. And honestly, she will be a trailblazer because no one else is doing it yet, or maybe like one or two people are doing it yet. And she has the backing of the expertise of working with people who are literally at the top of their field. So they've already got the legitimacy, they've already got the reputation, but it's now how they get that out there. And if she takes those lessons from other industries and she's really creative with it, she could combine, that reputation that they already have and then the creativity and how they market and create videos. And she could honestly stand out by a mile from other people in the industry. And it would honestly probably take them a long time to catch up and start doing the same thing. And so she has a real opportunity to be an innovator, to be a trailblazer, to take things from other industries and implement them in her own. So I guess I just wanted to share this story with you because I just think there's so many lessons that we can all learn from it. Like, one is embracing the cringe. One is moving through those feelings and keeping going, like making sure that your goal is bigger and more important than how you feel in the moment of doing what needs to be done to get there. I think the other thing is like, this links to the cringe, is like getting used to feeling discomfort. Like, this definitely been true for me when it's come to public speaking, for example. Like when I get a big public speaking gig, sometimes that's like the first time I've done something of that size. So I have to work through the discomfort, the feelings, the emotions to then do that thing. And then I've done it and I'm like, okay, I now know I can do this, so I can move on to the next step. And I think getting used to feeling discomfort in your business is so important, because then it's not something to fear or it's not something to panic about. It's actually just a normal part of the process. Like, you come to expect, okay, yeah, this is going to feel uncomfortable. I know that I can handle this level of discomfort and I just need to work through it. And when I'm out the other side, this will feel less uncomfortable and I'll be ready to move on to the next sort of challenge or the next thing that I want to do. So embrace the cringe, expect discomfort in your business. In fact, look for it, I would say. Make sure there is an element of you feeling a bit uncomfortable. And then go and look at what other industries are doing. I think more and more jumping on trends, and I did the episode all about trends before, like jumping on trends just isn't going to be enough. Like, we need to try and find ways to be the trendsetters. We need to find ways to be the ones doing new things. And I think one of the best ways that you can do that is going and looking at completely different industries from yours, seeing how they're doing things, learning from it, and then seeing if there's a creative way that you can take that, put your spin on it, and bring it into your own industry and be the first person doing something a little bit different in your little bubble, in your industry. So I hope that's helpful. I feel like I'm getting into the groove now with these solo episodes, so I'm enjoying them a lot more. Thank you so much for the feedback. I hope that lessons from a chat with a friend, I hope it's been beneficial. And yeah, we've still got a few solo episodes to go. I'm loving, like I said, that I can be spontaneous and that if I have an interesting conversation, I can just come here and chat about it and share it with you. So yeah, I'll be back next week with another solo episode. And as ever, I always love to hear what you think. So please come and message me. I'm at Liz M. Mosley or at Building Your Brand Podcast on Instagram. I always love to hear your stories. If you've, been through something similar, if you're struggling with something similar, let's chat about it. And yeah, I will be back next week.